In this video, I'm going to cover when to hit down the line from the ad court in doubles. If you missed part one, we'll link to it below. In that video, I cover the same topic except from the deuce court, because there's a lot of different things to consider when you're playing the deuce versus the ad court and trying to figure out, should I go cross court here or should I go down the line? And the reason I'm doing this is when I watch club level or USTA players, one of the biggest mistakes I see is this shot selection of when should I go down the line versus cross court. And too many players go for too much, make too many errors, or go down the line at the wrong time. So if you're playing in the ad court, either returning in the ad court, or even if you don't, you'll still be serving some from the ad court. We're gonna talk about returns as well as rallying when you should be going down the line here. So starting with the returns, the thing we wanna consider here is that the opposing net player has their forehand volley in the doubles alley. So if we're gonna hit down the line, we're hitting down the line, a return, which is typically a more defensive shot, down the line at their strength, which is the forehand volley, usually the stronger one for most people. So when we wanna be doing this is typically against second serves. Against a first serve, it's going to be pretty difficult to redirect that ball, and even if you can make it down the line, like I said, this player has a forehand volley, which is going to be stronger, and they're going to have more reach with a forehand volley, so they'll be able to cover a little more court in this direction. So against second serves is the best time to do it. What I like to do, and I do return from the ad court typically, is if I see the second serve coming kind of slow through the middle, or even a kick serve maybe to the outside, I'll step around it into the doubles alley and hit my forehand inside in. I'll set this up because most of the match I'll be hitting my forehand inside out. So this player will start leaning this direction, and then eventually I can beat him down the line. So that is typically the best way to do it. If you're comfortable with your backhand down the line, that's okay too. But one of the keys here that I'm going to continue to go over is really stepping forward to take time away from this net player so that they don't have that time to recover and hit that forehand volley. Because if they do, they have a wide open middle here to hit it through to hit a winner and end the point. So how often should you be doing this? Really, I like to do it at most, maybe 3 times per match off the return. Not too often. If it's a practice match and it's something I'm working on, or if the net player is particularly aggressive, maybe I'll do it a little more often. Obviously, if they're playing I formation, I'll go down the line a lot more often. But typically, if they're going to play traditional formation, not more than 3 times per match. Some matches, I won't even do it at all, especially if this net player is just kind of camping on the sidelines anyways. If they're going to give me the cross-court return every single time, then I'll just take it and try to make a high percentage of returns. One thing we talked about in the last video was lobbing on the return down the line. From the ad court, it's a little bit more difficult because, again, this player has a forehand volley here. So if you leave that lob short at all, they can still hit a pretty solid overhead from further back in the service box. And when you do lob down the line, if they have to switch, this player has a running forehand, which is typically not too difficult of a shot. So you can do it against really aggressive net players. And again, like I said earlier, when I do it, I'll typically step forward to do it, to take time away from them. And that way they don't have any time to get back for the overhead. So if I can hit it from somewhere in here, it'll get up and over their head faster and they won't have time to move back. And then I can follow that in and take an aggressive position here at the net while they're hitting a ground stroke. So that's it for the returns. For rallies, so whether you're returning or serving, hitting down the line during a rally. So where should we be aiming? Similar to the return, we want to really be going for the winner here. Aim for the doubles alley. I like to keep the ball really low and hit with a lot of pace so that it gets by them. This is going to depend on this net player's position. A lot of this depends on this net player. How aggressive are they? How close do they stand to the net? And so on. So if they're really close to the net, I'll step forward and hit it with a lot of pace. If they're backed off a little bit more, which a lot of people do, they don't play close enough to the net, then you can hit it with some spin, and you can even hit a little bit slower and dip it down at their feet. What I like to do, again, similar to the return, is hitting an inside-in forehand there. If you're comfortable with a backhand and you get a short ball and you want to redirect that down the line, that's okay too. Whatever you're comfortable with. But again, the key here is to make sure you get it by them and you really are going for the winner. And because of that, it's a much lower percentage shot than hitting it from the deuce court because you're going for so much more. So I really don't do this that often, maybe 1 to 3 times per match. If I get a short ball on an inside in forehand, sometimes it'll be 0 times per match. Rarely will it be more than 3 because again, I'm taking a ground stroke at their forehand volley, and that's just not a matchup that I typically like. Obviously all this flips if you're a lefty, and to be honest with you, my favorite place to hit the ball with this short forehand, and I have another video on this, is to go through the middle of the court, and then you can get them to kind of stab at a backhand volley. But we'll link to that video below as well. And then the lob during the rally, again, similar to the return, they're gonna have an overhead if you leave it short. So you wanna do that when you're able to step forward again and take time away from them. It's a good tactic against really aggressive net players to lob down the line because it's a much higher percentage shot than trying to hit kind of the all-out winner from way back here down the line, because they're gonna have so much time to recover. So depending on their skill level, how good their overhead is, things like that, lobbing down the line can work. But in general, from the ad court, you don't want to be going down the line quite as much because this player, again, has a backhand volley in the middle. And if they're able to poach and beat you with their backhand volley, then you can make adjustments. But most players are going to have more trouble with that if you're hitting solid cross-court ground strokes. So that's it for this video. If you have any questions, definitely leave them below in the comments, and I will talk to you in the next one. If you want to become a smarter doubles player and start winning more matches, then join the Tennis Tribe Doubles Strategy newsletter. Every single Thursday, I'll send you a new doubles tip or tactic that you can use in your very next match. And when you join, you're going to get a free guide on how to play with more confidence and start dominating at the net in doubles. My name's Will. I'm the founder of the Tennis Tribe, and over the last 5 years, I've worked with players at every level of the game, from USTA 3.0 players all the way to Division I college programs, as well as some of the top 10 doubles players in the world. And on Thursdays, with this strategy newsletter, I share that knowledge and advice that I've gained over the years with you. So to sign up, you can go to thetennistribe.com. And again, you'll get that free net play guide when you join.